Previously on Sailing Adrift, we gave you a very refined, behind-the-scenes director's cut showcasing some of our finest moments. But I forgot one. This week, we dive deeper into the engine room. Next project, installing the exhaust fan.
What's up?
No, you're the engine room troll.
Just buttoning up my little projects for the day.
These little baffles go clear up to the deck and blow out on the exterior of the boat. This one is going through this hose. I really like this hose. And then that ties into this 235 cubic foot a minute fan that will suck hot air from the top of the engine room and blow it outside. And then this one goes down to this fan, which is a little bit smaller, like 150 cubic feet a minute. And that goes down. It's the engine blower van. I had to, it's just hanging out there because the mount I had to drill it out and fill it with thickened epoxy for tomorrow's mounting.
Cool.
But that'll suck hot air and things like propane and fuel smells and things like that from under the engine and take that outside.
Nice.
So both of these will operate both by switch if we want to make them work manually or automatically when the pump is on or when the engine is on. So that's been my day's task, and now I'm just kind of securing everything and putting little red collars on the tips so they don't cut my flesh more in the future.
Good deal. I did that the other day.
Cut your flesh?
Yep, I got my thumb pretty good.
These are for you. I'm
Thanks.
gonna dig myself out of here since I guess it's too late for me to be working on the boat.
Would you like a hand?
Then that won't help at all.
Why not?
Dude, what, you're gonna then I smash my face into this? Like, what's your hand gonna help you with?
It just pull you up so you don't have to do a sit-up. I'm just offering.
I'm saying, like, there are times when offering someone a hand is great, but usually you would pull me out, which would smash my face and upper body right here into this area. So it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense for me to take your offered hand. I gotta kind of like troll crawl out of you.
Alright, you figure it out.
This place is dirty. Not it. Not it, Kelly.
I just watched me clean this place for 4 hours.
You watched you clean it
There
for
is
4
hours of me cleaning this place.
No freaking
I didn't
way.
watch all 4 hours,
It
but
wasn't 4 hours.
it's time stamped. Anyway, moving on.
It's finally time to turn our attention to the heater because we have to put this in place before we can put up the board that's going to have all the water maker stuff on it. So this is what we inherited with the boat. It's obviously been hanging out, not doing anything for a long, long time. It's got this thermostat here in Celsius, I would imagine, because no one needs a heater that's going to warm you to 30 degrees Fahrenheit. Look at this ridiculous amount of wire that comes with it. I think this was originally for a truck, because it's got this big old box power connector that just houses a very small amount of electrical in it. It's literally just the switch and then 2 indicator lights. And this giant box is what's responsible for that. That's the shield for the back of it. And that's my empty gummy worms wrapper. The top one is the on button and the bottom, or the on light, and the bottom one is there's a problem light. And that's literally just an on-off switch. So what we're gonna do is gut this or bypass this and then just wire this up to the instrument panel on the nav station at the helm inside the pilot house. Because this is way too bulky and can be replaced by very simple things very easily. Then we got to figure out this giant wiring. There are 2 ends that Y off this whole cable. Okay, here's the Y, and then here's the end. So you got negative and positive. Believe it or not, H is not for positive, it's for negative. 2 is the indicator for positive. This took me some research to figure this out, for the record. And then there's your negative again. Here's your power source. And then you've got 2 other wires labeled 17 and 8 that operate the switch. 17 and 8 are the indicator lights, and obviously the switch just goes through the power source and then talks to the batteries. We're gonna have to first modify this because as of right now, the exhaust just comes out of this grate and there's no way to hook any kind of ducting on there. So I made a circle that is based off of the outside of this, so we can hook some ducting to it. We're gonna have to cut that out. And then the mounting that is pre-drilled in here does not line up with the two brackets that we're gonna plan on installing this.
Thus creating another job.
So there's that. And then we've got to obviously plumb the fuel into it and run the ducts, and then take this ridiculous mess to where it's supposed to go and cut it off and label it properly so that when it's time to hook up the panels and the switches, everything will be easy to do.
But wait, there's more.
I did also find this, which is a black wire that came out of its little housing there. So we're gonna have to fix that as well. First things first though, I'm gonna carefully cut this with my tools. I haven't decided which ones yet, but it'll probably be the grinder. Here we go. We shouldn't nick anything, but you know how that goes. Theoretically, that's good, but we're gonna have to clean up these edges. It's like it's sanding time. I bought files. Why am I not using? Far from pretty, but I think it'll get the job done. We just need to be able to fit a duct around there, and then we can, from the inside, clamp it in place. Should be good. Next step is to get up there and figure out these mounting spots. Right now they live right here, and they're quite a bit farther apart. Hopefully we'll be able to get mounting holes without having to remove the heating unit. Should let this go back to where it was so it doesn't stress the system any more than it has to. These 4 holes should line up with our framing that's pre-existing. So what we'll do is make sure they line up, and then we'll relocate these bolts into these holes and make new ones for these, because it's all sitting on a plate. So there's the new hole, there's the old bolt. I don't think I use that many fasteners, so this should be good. I need you to help me carry this giant, snake.
All the intestines?
Exactly, the guts.
Okay.
We gotta go up to test fit. There's just so much wiring. It's not that heavy, but I just need someone to manage. I'm getting quite good at reading electrical schematics.
That's good.
It is. They're like the most daunting thing ever, and it's one of those things where when you first look at it, it's very overwhelming. And then you just think to yourself, you're not stupid, you could do it. You just gotta learn a little bit. And then you sit down and you grab your fork and knife and carve yourself a big piece of the elephant and start eating. One bite at a time. Before you know it, you know electrical, and you're really fat. Check out my wiring. The loom, it's all in place. It's all attached. The only thing we're waiting on is the new coolant temp sender.
Cool.
So this can go plop plop. And then everything else besides the alternator is ready to go. I even wired up that transmission neutral control.
Sweet.
So it's up on the supports, and it's not in the way of the exhaust. So 2 victories.
Your big butt's in the way.
Yeah. Maybe you just have to go with my running commentary.
Okay.
Is there a crescent wrench or something I could borrow?
Okay.
Oh, sweet. It worked.
Cool.
So there we go. There's it mounted in place. It obviously has a cover. We'll put that on there. I need to fix that little wiring issue in the back and check everything else. And that should do it. Yay!
Success!
Gently, gently.
It's like you're being born.
Yep. Just like that.
This is a lot of grunting.
And grunting.
It's coming out of your hole.
Alright. Let's go back down.
Okay. At this point, we know it fits, but we should probably also test it.
Before we get too carried away, because I'm seeing all these disconnected wires within this thing, and it doesn't look like they're ever used, and they're probably just fine. But I did find one that was loose, so I'm gonna see if I can't make this at least sound like it works. Grab our trusty power supply. It's trusty. And put it to 12 volt supply. H is negative. And 2 is hot. Positive. Now we should have juice. And we have to connect these two. And nothing's happening. Oh. We got a missing 25 amp fuse. Hopefully that does something. It's not missing, it's just disconnected, which could be a vital power connection. Should keep these apart. I'll put that back into place. All right, let's try this again. Still nothing. Definitely not a positive, not necessarily a negative. I don't know what to make out of all of that. Nothing happens. So I have to do a little bit more research.
After further research, Chris returns.
Okay, so it doesn't look like power's gone through this thermostat that's on the unit. I'm gonna take it apart and bypass that and see if anything happens. Alright, check this out. I'm jumping a terminal, trying to diagnose this thing.
Yeah?
You see, the thermostat acts as basically a fancy switch. And we should get 13 amp reading here. And the reason that we don't, that's weird, we get beat. There, Kelly, I diagnosed a faulty thermostat. Something's happening. I really don't want to keep testing it because it turned on, right?
Yeah.
But there's no diesel, so
Oh.
I just wanted to see if it would like click like it's trying to start. So we need a new thermostat.
That should be easy to find, right?
Totally. That really shouldn't be that bad.
Like everything else.
You could literally just use a household one, you know, like.
Oh, you can?
Well, that's all that is. It looks like one of those little cadet wall heater thermostats.
Oh.
Well, it was successful. I'm proud of myself.
Yeah.
And me. For the wiring loom on the engine side, this is the last step. It's so pretty and shiny. I'm gonna cover it with some white goo. I'll be right back. There. Oddly, I can't seem to find which one's supposed to be the positive and which one the negative. So I assume, which I'll have to, that it doesn't matter. But should it go haywire, I can always come down and switch them really easily. Okay, we're gonna start out with black down. Just like that. And we're done! No fanfare, because we have to go wire the other side to all the instruments that's up there next. And it's getting dark.
Oh, wait. One more thing.
There. I would have filmed the struggle, but that would have made it all the more difficult. The heater is in. It needs its cover, but the bolts seem to be lining up, so that's good. And we've got the electrics to the pump right down here. This is apparently the pump, which is kind of a funky setup, but we'll see if it works. And then here's the main electrical and switch controls. And then this is what I added to replace the thermostat and locate it up in the helm of the boat. So I'm gonna get this bolted in place, and then we'll start doing like the connections, like the ducting and the exhaust and all that fun stuff. This video is all over the place, but that's okay because it means we're getting stuff done. This is the battery box. I want to add some ventilation, so we're going to do some exhaust fans at the top. These two guys, little computer style fans that are waterproof, so that's good. And then we're going to put them on the opposite side of the main part of the engine because we don't want to knock them off or break them by smashing into them. And then on the bottom we're going to put a vent on each of the faces. These guys, you've seen them before, we bought a bunch of them all at once. So we're going to use 4 of those, and the idea is we're going to pull hot air out of the top of the battery bank, which will cause an inrush of cool air from the bottom. Relatively cool. What'll be cool about it is, on at least 3 of the sides, that air should come directly from the bilge. So that should keep things as cool as we can in a confined box in the middle of the engine room. You work with what you got. So let's get to work. We took the total length of the box, divided it by 4, so that we're equally spacing the 2 fans, assuming a draw on either side, taking up half of each of the areas of the box. If you got a fan that pulls from 5 inches in each direction, then you would space it at 5 inches and then leave 10 inches between the middle and another 5 on the other side. This one will actually be 11 inches, 11 inches, then 22 inches, then 11 inches. And then we measured 1 inch from the top to the top of the fan to give it some structural strength at the top. And that's where we marked to cut our holes. All right. Couple of holes in it now. And these will go, here's the airflow indicator, so we want it to blow out. So these look all sharp and cool and go like this. Then we'll attach these fans to them. And then it'll blow. And then down here is where we'll put the vents to draw air through. There. It's now got a face. It's important to put faces on everything you make so that when you're mad, you can yell at them. And when you're lonely, there's someone to talk to. Who could be mad at him? Look how cute he is. Oh, he's even crying. There. So we have the parts in place. Now we need to install the electronic guts. Doing the switching on this is going to be difficult because we want to be able to take this lid off. So we got to have a disconnectable electrical supply.
Sometime later, after another wrestling match in the engine room pit,
check out our new improved battery box, modified for the actual draws. So here's where the DC negative will attach to the batteries. Here's where the DC positive will. This is not the most ideal setup for batteries, but it's up there because you're drawing from the middle, which radiates energy draw from the outside in. It's still going to be slightly unbalanced. These extreme ones are going to have the least amount of use. The only way you can perfectly balance your battery bank is to add like a big bus bar on either side and have the exact same distance wires to each terminal. So these ones close to the middle will have way longer than needed because they have to be the same length as the ones clear at the end. And that achieves perfect balance over the battery bank because you're attaching to everything at the exact same location. This is probably the 3rd best option. I also capped each one and put dielectric grease on the outside. In doing my homework, just so you know, you don't want to put dielectric grease in between the metal contacts, or if you do, you want to wipe off as much as you possibly can before you actually make the contacts, because dielectric grease, which is this stuff that protects against corrosion and stuff, is also a slight insulator. So it will actually inhibit transfer. So you want bare metal on metal, and then you coat the whole outside with the dielectric grease. It took me a while to figure that out. This negative is going to attach to the engine block with a 1/2 inch lug, and the biggest one I had was 3/8. So I had to order a couple of those, but that will live right here and head way down under where you see basically that right there is the bolt on the engine that we will put all the negatives to, and this cable will go down and route through a little hole right there. You can see my gross band-aid sticking out, and then make that connection. The positive is actually going to go right up here and mount to its fuse, its main fuse. We have to add this sheathing to it because the rules for ABYC compliance are you have to have from your connection to the batteries to your fusing 7 inches maximum. If you don't have 7 inches, you can go up to 40 inches as long as you have some form of other insulation or sheathing on the outside. And that's what this black stuff achieves. All it's supposed to really do is keep shake protection at bay. It's still a relatively short run. I mean, it's only about 2 feet, a little bit longer, but there, we're ABYC compliant on both of these, hence the sheathing. I don't know if I have to have it on this yellow one, but I've got it, so why not use it? It keeps it, shave protected. That can't be bad.
That's it for this week. Stay tuned next week as we keep plugging along in the engine room and install our shore power outlet. Hey you, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed what you saw and you want to keep following along, become a subscriber. Just hit that subscribe button below. And special thanks to our patron crew. We really appreciate your support.
Which, yeah, that's right. I looked it up. Is it? We'll need this giant hole. Saw. Oh no! I digress. We're wasting time.